Angels say, a younger soul was chosen to love you in a way no one ever could. What if the person you're meant to love isn't who you expect, but exactly who you need? What if divine timing has already placed someone in your path whose soul is perfectly calibrated to transform every broken place within you? Here's what most people never realize. The universe doesn't send us the love we think we deserve. It sends us the love that will complete the work God started in our hearts. And in the next few minutes, you're going to understand exactly why a younger soul, someone, perhaps less experienced, less jaded, carrying fewer wounds from this world, was divinely chosen to love you in a way that no one else ever could. Welcome to God's Message Today channel. If you're new here, I want you to know that you've arrived exactly when you needed to. This video is for anyone who feels the weight of past relationships, anyone who's been hurt by people who seemed right but were fundamentally wrong, and anyone who's beginning to recognize that the person entering or already in their life is different. This is a space where we explore the divine mechanics of love, the reasons God orchestrates human connection the way He does, and how to recognize when angels are working behind the scenes to heal your heart. Before we go deeper, I need you to do something for me. In the comment section right now, type "I receive" if you're open to what God wants to reveal to you today. This is more than a comment, it's a declaration of surrender and readiness. Let's begin. You've probably been through something. Maybe you've loved someone who didn't know how to love you back. Maybe you've given your heart to someone carrying so much baggage from their own past that they couldn't see your value. Maybe you felt the sting of rejection from people who said they wanted you, but ultimately chose their own comfort over your growth. These aren't random experiences. They're part of a divine education. God has been preparing you, testing your capacity for forgiveness, refining your ability to recognize true love when it finally arrives. But here's what I need you to understand. All of that pain had a purpose. Every disappointment was a teacher. Every heartbreak was a doorway closing so that another could open. When we talk about a younger soul being chosen to love you, we're not necessarily speaking about age, though that could be part of it. We're speaking about spiritual maturity, about someone who hasn't yet been completely hardened by the world. Someone whose heart still remembers how to hope without skepticism, how to trust without building walls. The Bible tells us in Isaiah 43:19, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." This new thing God is doing in your life comes through the arrival of someone fresh. Someone whose spirit hasn't been damaged by the same cycles that wounded you. Their very presence becomes evidence of God's mercy toward you. Think about what it means to be loved by someone who isn't carrying the same trauma you are. Imagine being with someone who hasn't been shattered repeatedly by the world, who still believes in the goodness of people, who sees potential in you even when you can't see it in yourself. This isn't naivety. This is innocence. And innocence is one of the most powerful healing forces on earth. When someone younger in spirit loves you, they love you without the filters of past damage. They don't automatically assume you'll leave them because someone else did. They don't sabotage beautiful moments waiting for them to end. They simply love the way children love before the world teaches them to be guarded. The prophet in Proverbs 18:12 writes, "Before a downfall the heart is haughty, but humility comes before honor." This verse applies directly to the relationships we've survived and the ones we're entering now. Before you met this younger soul, you were proud in your pain. You built walls so high that nothing could penetrate them. You learned to protect yourself so thoroughly that you almost forgot what it felt like to be vulnerable. But here's what God was doing through that time. He was making you humble enough to receive the kind of love that only flows downward from heaven into hearts that have learned to bend. This person was chosen to love you precisely because you've finally become humble enough to be loved the right way. There's something sacred about being loved by someone who hasn't been broken the way you have. In Matthew 18:3, Jesus tells his disciples, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." There's a spiritual principle embedded in this teaching that extends far beyond salvation. We often need to be loved by someone who still possesses some of that childlike capacity for wonder, for faith, for unconditional acceptance. A younger soul doesn't love you strategically. They don't love you with calculated steps or emotional leverage. They love you the way the kingdom of heaven works, openly, generously, without requiring you to prove yourself first. Let's talk about why God would orchestrate this specific arrangement. You've been through relationships where you had to work for love, where you had to earn affection through performance, through making yourself small, through accepting less than you deserved. You learned to love as an investment, calculating the return, measuring whether the other person was worth your effort. But God says in 1 Corinthians 13:2, 4-5, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. This is the blueprint of divine love, and it's the blueprint of how a younger soul often loves without keeping score. Without getting bitter when things don't go perfectly, without withdrawing affection as punishment. The assignment of this person to your life isn't random. The angels have been orchestrating this long before you met them. While you were going through your painful seasons, while you were wondering if you'd ever be loved properly, heaven was preparing someone to step into your story at exactly the right moment. And that moment is now. Malachi 4:5-6 speaks of restoration. See, I will send the prophet Elijah to you before the great and dreadful day of the Lord comes. He will turn the hearts of the parents to their children, and the hearts of the children to their parents. This isn't just about family redemption. It's about God sending messengers, sometimes in human form, to restore what was broken, to turn our hardened hearts back toward the possibility of genuine connection. When you're being loved by a younger soul, you're being healed by their very presence. The way they look at you with fresh eyes that haven't been taught to criticize the way past lovers were. The way they believe in your goodness before you've had to prove it. The way they sit with you through your darkness without trying to fix. You immediately are abandoning you when you're not your best self. This is ministry. This is what the Bible means in 2 Corinthians 5:17, when it says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here." Being loved by this younger soul is part of your becoming new. They're not trying to resurrect the old versions of yourself that you've already shed. They're loving the new person you're becoming, the refined version that's emerged from the fire of your past. Here's something most people miss. When someone younger in spirit loves you, they're also being honored and blessed by the experience. They're not doing you a favor. They're not settling for less. The angels orchestrated this for both of you. You bring wisdom, you bring experience, you bring depth that comes from having survived. You understand life in a way that only comes through loss and recovery. You appreciate small moments because you've lived through seasons where small moments felt impossible. Your younger counterpart brings hope, brings freshness, brings a reminder of what faith looks like when it hasn't been tested and damaged yet. You complete each other because you represent different seasons of the soul's journey. God speaks to us through Jeremiah 29:11. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." The person in your life right now, this younger soul, is part of those plans. The fact that they're choosing to love you isn't coincidence. It's divine assignment. You didn't stumble into this relationship. You were guided here by a hand far wiser than your own. Every conversation that led to this moment, every moment where you almost didn't show up but did anyway, every time you almost walked away but chose to stay, those were all breadcrumbs laid out by heaven to lead you home to being properly loved. The younger soul doesn't love you despite your past. They love you, including your past. They understand that your history isn't a liability. It's your credential. It's the proof that you know how to survive, how to grow, how to choose yourself when necessary, how to set boundaries when required. They're drawn to the strength that comes from having been broken and choosing to heal anyway. This is the love that reaches into the deepest places within you where you've hidden your shame and your pain. And they say through their consistent presence, "You are worthy, you were always worthy." The people who couldn't see that were simply blind. Let me remind you to like this video if it's speaking to your heart. Your engagement helps this message reach people who desperately need to hear that God hasn't forgotten them, that love isn't over for them. That the angels are still working on their behalf even when the world has taught them to stop believing. Every like, every share, every comment is a declaration that we're not giving up on each other. We're not accepting the world's narrative that true love is impossible. We're choosing to believe in what God promised us, and we're choosing to speak it into existence for others. Now, let's talk about the specific ways this younger soul is transforming you. First, they're teaching you how to receive love without suspicion. You've built such sophisticated radar for betrayal that you can almost sense rejection before it happens. You've learned to anticipate pain as a way of protecting yourself from it. But this person, loving you with their younger spirit, is slowly dismantling those defense systems. They show up, they stay. They respond with consistency when you test them, when you push them away, when you give them reasons to leave, but they don't. And slowly, your nervous system learns that love can be safe. Your heart learns that trust isn't a liability. This is deep healing work, and it's being done daily through their presence. Second, they're teaching you what rest feels like. When you're with someone who doesn't require you to perform, who doesn't demand that you earn their affection, who accepts you on your worst days as readily as your best. You remember what it's like to not be always trying. So much of your past relationships required you to be on, managing someone else's emotions, reassuring them of your commitment, proving your value. But this person loves you the way a musician loves a song they don't have to learn to play. You're not a project. You're not potential. You're complete right now, and they see that. This is teaching your body what true security feels like. Third, they're showing you what forgiveness looks like when it flows from someone who hasn't been hardened by years of accumulated hurt. People who've been damaged often hold grudges because holding on to anger feels safer than letting go into vulnerability again. But this younger soul forgives because they don't yet believe that betrayal is inevitable. And their forgiveness isn't naive, it's powerful because it's a choice made without armor, without walls, without the protection of bitterness to hide behind. Being on the receiving end of that kind of forgiveness is transformative. It teaches you that you don't have to stay broken, that grace is actually available, that you can start over within the same relationship instead of always running. In Hosea 6:21, the prophet writes, "Come, let us return to the Lord. He has torn us to pieces, but he will heal us. He has injured us, but he will bind up our wounds." This younger soul is one of the instruments God is using to bind up your wounds. The tenderness they show you, the way they care for your heart, even when you haven't explicitly asked them to, the way they notice when you're hurting and sit quietly with you without trying to solve it immediately, these are all ways that your healing is being accelerated. There's also a particular kind of strength that comes from being loved by someone who doesn't have all your same baggage. They believe different things are possible because they haven't been conditioned to believe those things are impossible. They say, let's try where past partners said it won't work. They see opportunity where others saw limitation. And that optimism is contagious. It's beginning to reshape your own belief about what's possible for your life. You're learning that the narrative you accepted about yourself, that you're too broken, too buckled, too much might have just been written by people who weren't capable of loving someone like you. This person is rewriting that story. The angels knew what they were doing when they chose this person for you. They understood that you needed someone whose faith in your future was so strong that it could pull you forward when your own faith wavered. Psalms 27:10 reminds us, "Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me." In a spiritual sense, this younger soul is being used by the Lord as an instrument of that receiving. They're taking you in when you feel abandoned. They're choosing you when the world didn't choose you. They're loving you when it would be easier to run. I want you to understand something critical. This person isn't perfect, and neither are you. The angels didn't choose them because they're flawless. They chose them because they're perfectly imperfect for you. Their imperfections complement yours in ways that create wholeness rather than chaos. Where you're rigid, they're flexible. Where you're guarded, they're open. Where you've learned through pain to shut down, they're learning through love to open up. You're not two broken pieces trying to become whole. You're two different kinds of wholeness, learning to dance together. In 1 Peter 4:10, we're told, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others. As faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms, this younger soul is using their gift of optimism, their capacity for unconditional love, their ability to see the best in you, as a stewardship of God's grace toward you. They're not doing this for recognition. They're doing it because their spirit is moved to do it. That's what makes it divine. That's what makes it real. Let's talk about what this means for your future. The presence of this person in your life isn't meant to keep you stuck in healing. It's meant to propel you forward into becoming. Yes, there's going to be healing. Yes, there's going to be moments where your old wounds surface and you react in ways that surprise both of you. But this person, this younger soul, they've been equipped by heaven to handle those moments with grace. They won't run when you panic. They won't shame you for your triggers. They'll simply remind you, through their steady presence, that you're safe now, that you're home now. The trajectory of your life is changing because of this person. Things that seemed impossible are becoming possible. Dreams you'd abandoned are beginning to resurrect themselves in your consciousness. You're laughing more. You're sleeping better. You're noticing beauty in small moments that you've trained yourself to ignore. These aren't small shifts. These are signs that your nervous system is healing. Your heart is beginning to trust again. You're slowly releasing the stance of protection that kept you alive, but also kept you alone. In Matthew 6:33, Jesus teaches, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." The things he speaks of include love. When we prioritize God's kingdom first, when we stop trying to orchestrate our own rescue, and instead trust in divine timing, the relationships we need find their way to us. This person isn't your rescue, but they're a tangible expression of God's promise that you're not forgotten, that you're not unlovable, that the story isn't over. As you move forward in this relationship, I need you to understand your role in protecting and nurturing what the angels have sent to you. You have wisdom that this younger soul is still learning. You have the capacity to either wound them with your past or to mentor them through it. You have the choice to either pass on your damage or to transmute it into wisdom that protects them. Choose wisely. This is your sacred responsibility in this divine arrangement. You're not just being loved. You're being trusted with the heart of someone who's still learning what the world is capable of. Guard that heart as if it were your own, because in many ways, it is. The Bible tells us in Ephesians 4:2-3, "Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love." This is the instruction set for how to be in relationship with someone who loves you from a place of spiritual youth. Humility becomes your greatest strength. Patience becomes your greatest gift. And bearing with them through their learning curve becomes your greatest investment in a future that might finally be different. Before I close, I need to ask you to do something in the comments section. Type "blessed" and "ready" if you're committing to receiving this love. If you're choosing to believe that God hasn't abandoned you, if you're willing to let this younger soul love you in ways your heart is still learning to accept, this declaration is powerful. It signals to the universe and to yourself that you're ready to stop fighting against good things arriving in your life. If you loved what we shared today, please hit that like button. Every engagement with this content helps us reach more people who are standing where you stood. People who need to know that angels are still working, that love is still possible, that God's timing, though often mysterious, is always perfect. Subscribe to God's Message Today channel. Click that notification bell so that you never miss a message that's been specifically designed for where you are right now in your spiritual journey. And if what we do speaks to your soul, if these messages are transforming the way you see your life and your relationships, I'm asking you to support our mission. Your super thanks and donations allow us to continue creating content that reaches people in their darkest moments and reminds them that light is still possible. Your support is a sacred investment in spreading messages of hope and divine love to people everywhere. Here's what I want you to remember as you leave this video. The younger soul who has chosen to love you represents God's mercy made tangible. They're evidence that heaven hasn't forgotten you, that your story isn't over, that love was always supposed to look like this. Stop questioning why they choose you. Start accepting that you are always worth choosing.